Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Tracy and this is Not Afraid of Color. In today's video, I want to show you how I create my little nests for my bird card. So I start out with the funky wreaths. These things are so versatile. And as you can see, this is the one I made, but the one I'm going to show you is going to be an extra one because it was just kind of hindsight rather than try and explain how I do it. So I've got the funky wreaths and I'm going to be using just one of the wreaths. You can use as many as you want. You can make your nest as elaborate as you want. But this wreath piece will work just fine for me. There's a lot of really small little branches in here that you can also use, but we don't need to use them today. We're just going to use the one. And I'm going to choose a brown color. And these are Tim Holtz papers, basically just the basic cardstock. And then I've got some thread here. This is kind of a golden color. You do want to make sure that it's, like an upholstery, a thick thread. You could use a thinner thread if you really wanted to. I don't care. It's your nest. It's just easier for me to see the thicker one because, yeah, I'm kind of half blind. So I'm just going to cut this little piece out here and I'll run it through my die cutting machine. And I do run it through with the precision plate, the chrome precision plate. Now I'm going to move this little thing here for a minute because when I'm starting to work with paper and things like that, it's really hard to pick stuff up off of there. So it's handy for a lot of things, but other things it's a real pain. So I'm just going to poke all of the things out and I'm going to keep all of them. So let me set aside these bigger pieces because they're kind of in my way, but all these little extra pieces that I'm poking out, I'll be using them for my nest, both sides in fact, because the other side of this is craft, and so I'm getting kind of a two-tone brown, little 2-for-1 type deal here with my nest. I'm just trying to get this thing to come out here. There we go. And then I'll poke out the excess here and just keep it all in a little pile here on my piece of paper. And I'm just using my little Sizzix pokey tool here. These I love, love, love. This is probably one of my favorite die sets for just so many different purposes. So now I've got my little piece cut out and I need to choose my foundation for my nest. And so what I'm going to do is I want my nest to be about 1.5 inches, somewhere, nothing perfect. And I'm just cutting kind of a cup shape out of this wreath. So there's my foundation. I'll set this other part of the wreath aside because we will be using that as well. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut up a bunch of little pieces of thread. And again, you can use any color you want. You can skip the thread if you want. I just feel like it gives the nest a kind of a more rustic feel. And I'm looking for my brand new scissors that I can't find. So I'll find another pair. And I just cut pieces about 1 inch each, sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller. There's no exact science here because, yeah, it's a bird nest. So just kind of cutting out pieces here. Cut out several. If I need more, I'll cut more. No big deal. Get a couple more here. All right, now I'm going to move all these off to one side. So I've kind of got all my stuff compartmentalized, sort of. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here for you a little bit so you can see a little better. And I'm going to take my glue, and this is, I use a Reptile adhesive. You can use any glue you want, but you don't want it to dry too fast. And this stuff, when you press down on it, of course, it starts to dry faster, but I'm just laying my thread down in here any old way pretty much. Just the same as nature would do it when the bird builds the nest. Something to kind of keep it all together. And I'm using my tweezers to grab the thread, mostly because it's hard for my fingers to grab it. And I want to make sure that I get it going in multiple directions. because I want it sticking out all over. And you don't really want to try and press down unless if you have like a piece of release paper, you can use it to press down. But I'm just kind of laying them there because then I'm going to take some of these scrap pieces and I'm going to take a larger one and I'm basically going to anchor all of those threads down with it. I'll show you. See, once I lay that down, that starts to anchor those threads down. Just kind of tap it down in places. And then I'll just start laying these little scrap pieces onto here back and forth until I've kind of like got a bowl shape. And notice I'm using both sides. So on some of them I've got the craft side up, on others I've got the brown side up. And that's why I love this paper, because I don't have to worry about adding a color to the back. You know, I don't have that white. And because I'm doing, you know, a natural bird's nest, it's not going to be just one single color. Although, yeah, see, this is the only thing, there's the reason why I like to use my little silicone, is because you want to be careful that your glue doesn't stick to your paper. But I'm doing this just to illustrate so you guys can see it better. Normally I would be doing it on my silicone, and I can't seem to find my Tim Holtz mat, so I'll just put it back on this red mat and I hope you can see it. I know it's kind of hard to see against there, but I think you get the idea. I just don't want it sticking to my white paper. Yeah, and so this is me still looking for my mat that goes with my my Tim Holtz glass mat. I have it put away somewhere. I don't know where it is. Yeah, that's typical me. So I'm just going to keep laying these on until I get kind of the shape that I want. It's just basically a bowl shape. And I'll put a couple more on. And just get it as organic looking as you possibly can. So you see I'm going that way, so kind of filling in. It doesn't have to be perfectly filled in because you're going to do a backside too. But I'm going to fill it mostly in. So you see now those threads kind of get buried, and don't worry about the glue. It does dry clear. So I'm not concerned that you're seeing little white specks. Sorry about that. I didn't know I had my sound on. Let me turn my sound off. Some of the specks are teeny tiny and very hard to see. So do those at your own risk. Okay, come on.
Welcome to Bixby.
Ah, sorry about that. I'm trying to get my phone to shut up, but never mind. We'll ignore that. If it makes a noise, it makes a noise. Usually I have my sound off, but it's the weekend because I work. And I don't like my phone making noise while I'm working, because I'm work on phone, so I can't be distracted by my own phone while I'm trying to help somebody with theirs. Just, again, just kind of laying the pieces, and I'll turn my whole little mat if I need to so I can get it going in the direction I want. So you want to keep most of them moving in a bowl shape. Okay. So you see right there, it's kind of, you see it's where it's looking kind of squared off. I'm going to place one of these little organic scrap pieces right beside that so that it kind of, you know, stays in a, looks more like a more natural shape rather than something that was cut with scissors. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the back side of the nest, and basically I'm going to do the same thing. I basically lay it on there so I can see. I'm going to pick that up with tweezers so I can see where I need to cut it, and I'm just sort of eyeballing where I need to cut it and cutting it. And I'm going to do some things to that portion of the nest too. It can't be just plain. So I'm going to grab a little bit more string, not a ton, just a few snippets. Okay, that should be good. And I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to lay some glue along the center portion there and just start laying those strings on. I'm gonna say it does take a little bit of patience when you're dealing with really small things like this, but the added detail is so worth it. You just, you know, when you're doing a make, yeah, you can do let's keep it simple stuff, but honestly, that is not why I do this. I do this because I like to be challenged, because I like to do things. So if I have something that's challenging, that's, you know, that's the way I'm going to do it. And I show you as much as I can. It's up to you whether or not you feel like you have the patience to deal with something like this, but it's just so worth it. You could actually sit and make multiple nests and set them aside for a time when you need them. That way it's over with. And you see I'm taking that that sort of cup shape and I'm going the other direction with it. And just kind of filling in holes and covering up anything that looks like it was cut square, you know, with scissors. This little piece just wants to fight with me. So yes, I will be the first to say that you may have some fights with your little pieces of paper. I would like to use multimedia matte, but it dries too fast. And I can't get it to, I can get it to come out of the bottle once or twice, and then it refuses to come out for me. So generally when I use that, I paint it on. But that's not going to work with this application, so you do want a good liquid glue. And we're just getting done here with the back side of our nest here. There's the front side. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to get another piece of my silicone mat, but first I'm going to get some little eggs that I had already cut out, and this is from a different die set, and I had cut out a bunch of them, and so I'm going to take 3 of them and I'm going to put them on this little silicone mat so I can color them. And I'll pull it up to where you can see it here in a moment. There we go. I like to put them on there because they kind of hold still when I press down with the brush. So I'm going to use one of my little finger blender brushes, and I'm going to use the Speckled Egg Distress Oxide on these because they're egg colored. Now I've got a little bit of a darker blue already on my brush, and I'm okay with that. And I'm just going to blend in the color on those. It's a good color for eggs. I don't know. Go figure. You can color them any way you want. You could put speckles on them, brown speckles, whatever you like. I'm going to edge them with my Vintage Photo Distress ink. Oh, nope. Looks like I'm going to use walnut stain. Those are my frequently used. That's why they're in their little own container that I made. And I'm pretty sure I did a video on how to make these containers. So I have my frequently used in little containers like that. And on the bottom is more of that silicone. So it holds them steady while I'm dipping into them. So I'm just, now you can see why my fingers are always brown, because you edge something that tiny and yeah, it's going to go brown. And I'm going to just take some of that walnut stain and just tap it here and there on the little nest piece. And some of the glue's still wet, and that's okay. I abuse my things. Okay, now it's time to put this guy together. So I'm going to take the top part of my nest here. Make sure everything's good and stuck down. And I'm going to, Well, at first I put the glue down, but I realized later that it's probably better to put the glue down onto the eggs first. But I'm going to place the eggs so that they are kind of in and out of the bottom of that basket, because they're going to be kind of going inside the other basket. I'll lay these down and they want to come back up on my finger, so I'll put a little more glue on them. Little stinkers. And now I want to be careful that I don't glue them to my white paper there. Let's glue this last one down. And you could actually glue these in afterwards if you wanted to. That might be helpful with placement. So then we're just going to glue our nest right onto there. And let me just pick this up and put it where it's not going to get stuck to my white paper. Put it down on my little silicone mat. And I'm going to place glue just on the ends here. And then I'm going to place the basket portion of my nest, so that my eggs are kind of in there. And then I'll just press down on it so that those parts stick together. And now I can kind of move my eggs around because my placement wasn't that great. I mean, it doesn't matter. Birds don't perfectly put their eggs in the nest, but I do want them tucked inside the nest. So there you have it. There you've got your little nest. And here's me trying to make sure that you can see it and just fighting with everything. Oh my goodness, I forgot to turn on a light. This was kind of a hindsight. Oh, let me show people how I did this. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I am going to be putting a few more little, fighting with a few more little pieces here, just to kind of give it some more of an organic feel. And, you know, I end up basically using every single piece of that paper that I cut out, including the scraps. So I'm not going to use that funky looking one, I don't think. See, you can even cut some more off of here. There's still more to use. And I have, in a lot of projects, used just bits and pieces of this and the other wreath die. See, I want to just add a little bit extra here. Now, on the original card I made, I also tucked a flower in there, but I'm just showing you the fundamentals, so I'm not going to make you sit through me cutting out a flower too. But see, you can tuck that onto branches, and let me here try and get it so you can see it. Oh, you wouldn't believe the stuff I had to cut out of here. Try and show this doggone thing to you, because I couldn't get I'm looking at it going, I can't see what's going on here. Why won't my camera focus? Okay, maybe that's better. We've got better color going there anyway. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this video, or at least got some creative inspiration. And if you do like the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and leave a comment below, whatever you want. Thanks again for watching. Y'all have an amazing day.